how to deliver 3 easy ideas for a problem and solution speech. Now guys, welcome to my channel. For those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Dharshanth and I'm an online public speaking coach. If you stay till the end of this video, you'll get to see how I use a very easy 3 stakeholder method that I implemented in a problem and solution speech. And in today's speech, we will see how I had actually used the problem solution approach, where I identified the problem was, for example, running a successful event. And the solution that I proposed in the speech, which you will see in a short while, is how I guided my team through experience, through my know-how and my expertise. And I also want you to take note that in every problem solution speech, the very key method to use is called the Stakeholder Idea method. And I identified 3 main stakeholders in this video. Primarily, number 1, the referees, number 2, the volunteers, and number 3, the organization leaders. You must be wondering what the event is all about. I'll give you a clue. It's all about the beautiful game. So stay tuned and enjoy the video. Let's go. Very good evening, everybody. Today my speech title is The Boss. So we'll identify that later on. So here's the situation. Dharshanth, the futsal category in this competition is going to be cancelled if you don't fix your ass right now. So what would I do at this stage? I was shivering and trembling as to why did my project director shout at me in such an ostensive manner. And I could either do 2 of one thing. 1, I could either fight, or 2, I could either flight. So which did I do? I told him, sorry, let me rectify this. Because the situation was that I had to get 20 teams to participate and to pay to register in the futsal competition, which was in 2 weeks' time. So what was my role? My role was the project director for the futsal category for a competition. So this is actually a real life situation. It was back in university. The competition was called Malaysian Games in the University of Melbourne when I was studying in Australia. So I took charge of the futsal category when there were many other sports as well. There was basketball, there was tennis, there was badminton, there was like frisbee and so on and so forth. Yeah. So why was I put in this situation? I will put this down to because of, first and foremost, there was a bit of a mess in the team planning. But when I took charge, I told myself that I only have 2 weeks and I had to sort out a huge mess because at that point of time we had no teams, no referees, no volunteers, no organization in terms of where the venue is, and also the finance was all in a disarray. So here's what I did. Let me share that with you. So first and foremost, I went to my team members and I told them, hey guys, look, we got to get our act straight. We got to basically put things into plan and to make the plan work. Because if we don't do this, it will look very embarrassing. Because our component of the competition is actually one of the largest parts. Because the rest of the teams, they only had like about 10 teams or 15. And each team had a minimum of, let's say, 3, 4, 5 people. But for futsal, for example, each team had 7 people. And you can imagine 20 teams, that's 140 people. That's a lot of money for the teams, for the competition. So we are basically the cash cow for the competition. If we did not pull above our weight, the competition was not going to be a success. So now that we all understand the dire situation that I was in, this is what I did. I told my team, alright, this is how we're going to separate it. One team is going to help me source for referees, another team is going to help me to source for volunteers, and the third team is going to help me to source for the competition details, such as the organization of the venue, the finance matters, and also confirming the location with the organizers. Yeah. So what I did with the first team was that I told them, for volunteers, look at the most easy way of getting things done. The simplest way is always the best way. So I told them, this is how I would do it. And I actually showed them by example, because that's what I believe. I believe a good leader is someone who steps down to the ground level, holds your hand and shows them, this is how it's done, learn from me. So I actually called up some of my friends, because I used to play football quite regularly back in university. And I actually asked them, hey, do you guys know any seniors or do you know any referees that you guys can outsource to us? And they said yes, so they gave me a whole list of referees all across town. So what we did, we actually called them each and every one and asked them, hey, can you be the referee for this competition? What's your price? What's your time availability? And also, what's your transport arrangement? So each of them came up with very different answers. So we had to get at least 4 referees, 2 for Saturday, 2 for Sunday, which we did eventually. Because eventually, after long talks and arguments with certain of the referees, because a lot of them were very pushy, because a lot of them realized the situation became very dire. So they actually asked us for, say, a higher pay, which was not sensible. They also asked for transport arrangements, which was beyond our capacity. So once we had to filter out all the bad hats, we actually got to the really good referees, those who wanted to do it because they wanted to pursue refereeing on their own, and also because they wanted to help our competition. That's when we successfully got those 4 referees for our competition. So that part was done. Next, I'd like to tell you about the volunteers. So what is the role of the volunteers? The volunteers basically would help out in terms of distribution of, say, water, food, the first aid people, the emergency team, and also people on the ground who actually help to keep track of the score, help to keep track of the bibs, and also those who volunteer to assist onto the day-to-day operation of the competition. So these volunteers were majority students, and they were students which was from each and every university in Melbourne. So it can be from University of Melbourne, it could be from RMIT, it could be from Deakin, and a number of other universities. So the way we got volunteers was through word of mouth. We did shout-outs on Facebook, Instagram, because we realized that's the best way to get people of like-minded interests. And we did shout-outs, and we also enabled them to come in by throwing incentives such as, say, free meals, say, goodies, say, free lunches, and also free transport arrangement. So we basically played with our budget in the sense of how do we direct. First was the referees, next was the volunteers, and eventually after, like, say, a couple of, like, one week of solidly going and hunting for volunteers, we eventually got 5 volunteers who were willing to come and help out, which was really good. So that was a success. And then next, we looked at the third case, which was the finance matter. So this was the most pivotal part of the competition, because once you got all your volunteers and referees in place, you need to get your 20 teams sorted out. So we literally had to fight nook and cranny to make sure everyone confirmed their participation. Because you know how people can be. Some of them are very fickle-minded. They could be yes one moment and no the next moment. So we had to tell them to make payment, give confirmation, and therefore get your slot validated. Because in a football competition, or futsal competition for that matter, you need an even number of teams to make sure you divide the groups accordingly to quarters, semi-finals, and finals, so that the qualifying rounds become even. So we eventually were started on 18, I still remember. The midnight before the competition, there were 2 teams that were pending due to some players being injured or reasons that they provided. So I actually personally called them up, I remember, the next morning, right before the competition, to ask them and tell them, hey, you have already given your confirmation, you verbally, and you also did make your deposit payment. So I would really encourage you to join, but if you don't want to join, it's still your choice. But still, I did coax them and to actually promote them to join the competition, which they did eventually, so that was good. So when I did that, my team as well took it as a credit to themselves, because they look at it as like, it's a team game. We all took effort to bring in all those 20 teams to confirm their participation. So when that all took place, eventually when the competition took place on the Saturday and the Sunday, it all went smooth sailing. There were, of course, a bit of hiccups in terms of some players getting injured, a couple of fights as well, as every futsal competition will have, a couple of goals, winning and losing, in every competition there are winners and losers. So in hindsight, it was a successful competition. We did become the cash cow that the organizers wanted us to be, and we also brought in the most amount of money, and therefore we could also give out the best prizes to the competitors. And the moral of the story that I'm sharing with you is that my way of doing leadership for that situation was by telling my team this is the problem, proposing them the solution, showing them that the solution works on a certain level, and actually guiding them with me to go through the rugged areas in life and to actually solve each and every step of the way. So the first problem of referees, second problem of volunteers, third problem of the actual venue and finance matters. So all in all, I would say a good way of leadership is by leading by one's own example. And with that, I'd like to end my speech. Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching to the very end of this video. And if you feel you've enjoyed this video, go on and smash that like button below, and also subscribe to the channel for more great content coming your way. And I also encourage all of you to share your thoughts in the comment section below. This is Dharshanth Devendran once again, and I'm more than happy to share with you my public speaking classes online. Go on and click the link below to find out more. And most importantly, see you in the next video.